well. And then you says, hey, I wanted to ask you, are you informed about CBDC? And if you are, I'd like to listen to your opinion and if it's a harm to Bitcoin. It's a good question. We'll take that one today. I do have an opinion. I think that CBDCs were actually the reason I got into Bitcoin. Because back in, I think it was 2020, 2019, there was a lot of talk about the whole reason behind the pandemic. I felt anyways, and I saw a bunch of people talking about this, is they're trying to lead everybody into a very controlled system, digital ID, where you'd have to use your ID to pay for everything and to do everything, to sign into everything. And that scared the shit out of me. So I've been paying attention to CBDCs for a lot of years now, and it led me to Bitcoin, because when you understand the difference between central bank digital currencies and Bitcoin, it's a very dark future compared to a very bright future. That's how I saw it. And I think that there will be a bunch of different countries. There are some countries who are already rolling them out. I do think that Canada will, eventually US will. When that happens, I think that we're kind of at the point now where enough people are aware that the central bank system is bad. I think that we are. And I think that even if they tried to roll it out, it would be they would fail miserably at it. It might survive for a while, but at the end of the day, I think that people are kind of at the point now where they've lost all trust in governments and central banks. And it's a very bad path to go down. Very bad path. So I think that it's not going to really have any sort of impact on Bitcoin. I think if anything, it's going to do good for it, because people are going to see, because if you think about central bank digital currencies, it's basically what we have now, honestly. Like, when was the last time you went to, everything's digital. Everything's already digital. They can already see where you're sending money to, where you're getting money from. They have the ability to stop it if they don't like what you're doing online or in life. They have that ability now. They have the ability to freeze your bank accounts, which is what happened here in Canada during the trucker protest. So CBDC, I think it would be 100 times worse than what we have now, but we still have a version of that today. And just to go a little bit further down this path, because it is important. But when we were in Portugal, we got a Uber there from a young guy, and it was about a half-hour cab ride. It cost like $6, by the way. So if you're looking for a good place to live, a beautiful place to live that's very inexpensive, I would suggest Portugal. But anyways, this fella, he's a great guy. He's a new subscriber to the channel, actually, because we got to talking. And in Portugal, they're going through the same kind of thing that we're going through here. He said that they've had a couple liberal governments that have really hurt their country with mass immigration, with monetary policy. And I started talking about Bitcoin, and I said, well, we're going through the same thing here in Canada. Exact same thing, probably worse than there. Obviously, if a 30-minute Uber ride costs $6, that would probably cost $300 here in Canada. But so we started talking about money, and I said, there's a lot of Canadians now, and I emphasized a little bit, but it's true that the monetary policies, the Liberal government has created a lot of Bitcoiners here in Canada. So I said, here in Canada, what people have been doing is actually buying Bitcoin, because our government is so overreaching right now. They started freezing bank accounts a couple of years ago. And because of that, the solution is Bitcoin. If you do it properly, they can't actually freeze your Bitcoin. They can't do anything with it if you do it properly. And so that really interested him. I said, most people think of Bitcoin and they think that Bitcoiners are only in it for the price movement and they want to get rich fast. But there's a lot of people out there who are actually using Bitcoin as a way to get away from their government's overreach. And he understood that. And so he said, I'm going to start paying attention to Bitcoin. I'm going to start watching some videos on YouTube. And I said, well, I do a show every morning, so make sure that you check out the channel and leave a comment on a video just so I know it's you. And he did. So his name's Pedro. He's from Portugal, and he's a great heck of a guy. And I hope that he's going to be a Bitcoiner someday. So I'm still waiting to hear back from him. I sent him a couple comments because I want to send him some Bitcoin. as a tip for the cab ride. Because unfortunately, I didn't have any data on there, so I couldn't send them some Bitcoin on the fly. But moral of the story there, CBDCs, I think that they're really going to have no impact on Bitcoin. They're totally different, obviously. But I do think that it'll really open people's eyes to the differences between a centralized system like CBDCs, where they have the ability to cut you off, versus Bitcoin, a decentralized system with no ability to cut you off.